two, three concerts. It's the next Jackson Symphony Orchestra event, and here is music director Matt Aubin. Matt, welcome back.
Well, thank you, Bart. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yep, we're getting ready. Season finale this weekend.
Nice. And Matt came back just in time. He was in France to vote for Emmanuel Macron.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not Marine Le Pen.
Did you notice?
I did while I was in there. They had the presidential primary, and what's amazing, two things that I thought people in America might appreciate. One is that at 8 o'clock the results just came in, and they knew it. I know.
I saw
it must be all digitized or whatever. But
we should find out how they do it.
Hello, right? I mean, rather than stay up till 2 a.m. Or several days in the case of the last election. No, it was great. And then the other thing is, my host was kind of bemoaning the fact that only 75% of the people came out to vote. He said that the turnout was low in comparison. And that's another thing that I think we could stand to learn, is all become involved in our democratic process here.
Yeah. And even with a big turnout, like 75%, they're still able to deliver the results.
Just like that. It was amazing. And then, of course, so I was in there for the primary, and then the 15 days went by, and Macron got reelected. So there we go.
And it wasn't like, okay, well, at this point, with 37% of the vote, it's so-and-so leading.
No.
It's like
instantaneous. Yeah. The other thing, I had been there, I think it was actually 5 years ago when Macron was first running, and something I thought was interesting, I think there were 9 people in the primary, and they gave each of the 9 people on their national television 15 minutes each with some, their version of Anderson Cooper or whomever, just peppering them with questions. But each person out of the 9, even though some of them had no chance of winning, get equal time to, very interesting, just the difference there. So
that's what should happen, but it'll never happen here because the campaign spending is out of control, and it should end.
We should have our own show. We should have our own political show.
We will. Let's change. We'll just change the world. All right. Well, we want to really get people in the audience for your concerts, and it's the same concert, but you deliver it 3 different times.
Correct. Yeah. This is. I always tell people it's really nice to perform downtown. One, because we're downtown, you can go have a bite at one of the great restaurants down here, walk to the concert. Also, it's a smaller environment, so rather than having 800, 900 people packed into the Potter Center for one show, you have 250, 300 people each night in an intimate environment where there really is no bad seat in the house. You can really see all the performers, and with our new balcony, you can overlook the orchestra really in a great way, and that actually gives you a different perspective as well. So I think it's fun for us to perform the program 3 times. It gives us a shot to hopefully get it right 3 times, but if we don't, we got an extra chance. So
what's funny about the balcony is when you're in the balcony, when you're on the main floor, you don't even realize there's people above you.
I know.
And vice versa.
Yeah. Well, and then also there's a lot of people think it's been there forever. And we just did it in 2019. So it's a real testament to the work that was done. It looks like it was there forever. The only problem is it gets a little warm up there. That's the only thing I'll say. It's heat rises. So.
All right. So we've got a local boy makes good and returns to the JSO.
That's right. So several years ago, I met Marcus Norris. He introduced himself, and he's a Jackson High School or a Jackson native and went to Jackson High School. But whereas most people that go into classical music participated in school band or orchestra, Marcus didn't. Marcus really did a lot of his initial study in music on his own. He was really interested in rap and R&B and hip hop, and he basically worked at the computer and created his own beats and things like that. And then when he went to do his undergrad, he started to take some music courses on the side and became really interested in more music theory and how to write music. And that led to a master's degree in Florida. And now he's finishing up a doctorate at UCLA in music composition. So really not the traditional path at all, but a very inspirational path because in addition to us, his music's getting performed all over the country by different orchestras. And this is the second time we'll have paid him what we call a commission to write a piece for us, and the third time we've performed some of his music.
Cool. Does he even play a traditional instrument himself?
I think he noodles at the piano, and I think he did try a string instrument, but no, I mean, for the most part, it's all going on up here in his head. And I'll say I work with younger composers a lot, and one of the things that I sometimes see is, a lack of craftsmanship or attention to detail or something's missing. And with Marcus's music, it's very clean, it's very easy to read, it's very, very thoughtfully constructed, and I really appreciate that.
Nice. So he will be the star of the show this weekend, and you've got two other big names. Yeah.
So after that, in the first half, we'll open with this piece by Marcus called "There Can Be No More Kings," and then the second piece is Chopin's first piano concerto. Chopin was a Polish piano virtuoso and composer who really only wrote for the piano, and he later lived in France, and this is in the early 19th century, and he wrote two piano concertos that are performed with orchestra a lot. And if you don't know what a concerto is, it's a solo piece for one instrument with the orchestra essentially being a backup band. So it's really there to feature this one performer. And in this case, we've partnered with the Gilmore Keyboard Festival out in Kalamazoo, and we're featuring a guy named Elliot Wu. And Elliot's a young pianist in his 20s in New York City who won one of their Young Artist Awards. And basically they award someone that they feel like has a lot of promise and potential to be an international soloist. So Elliot's going to be performing the Chopin first piano concerto with us 3 times. And so on the first half, you have this kind of celebration of youth, of young future stars in classical music. Then on the second half, we have the first symphony by Florence Price. And Florence Price is finally getting some recognition. She was the first female black composer performed by a major American orchestra. Back in the 30s, her first symphony was performed at a festival by the Chicago Symphony. And it's just a lovely piece. It kind of starts in a way that reminds us of Dvorak's New World Symphony, but then the second movement becomes more of a hymn, of a call and response between brass instruments and some woodwinds. The third movement is a juba dance. It's a traditional African dance that slaves did in the South in the early 1800s. And so she gradually goes and kind of takes the symphony from more of a traditional European viewpoint, and as we go through the movements, brings in more of an African American stance into the music. And I just find the music to be really good, really high quality. If you like jazz, if you like Gershwin, if you like Dvorak, it has little flavors of all of those. And I think it's a great way to end our season, having more music on the program by like a woman or by people of color than our traditional kind of dead white guys that we represent. So, I'm really excited for the program. I think people might not know these names or know this music, but I think they'll come out really wanting to hear more of them.
Tickets at jacksonsymphony.org, or you can even call your order in 782-3221. And because you've got limited space with Weatherwax Hall, there's potential for a sellout.
Yeah, for sure. So get your tickets now. Ticket sales have been steady, and we did a performance in Weatherwax Hall back in February, and we had a great turnout. So we'll do this on Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday. And then I should also mention that along with this, Marcus, because he's native to Jackson, we've designed a program on Thursday afternoon where he'll be going out to the King Center and speaking to some kids about just his process, about how he puts music together. Because even though he writes classical music, he also takes popular music and arranges it for orchestral instruments. And so he's a really cool guy doing lots of fun stuff. I know that he's writing some music for films too right now, so just
Cool.
really special.
Yeah, so just show up at the King Center, free, observe the recording session at 4 o'clock, 4:30, all are welcome.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right.
All right, so the season of subscription series concerts ends this weekend, but then you've got still some more stuff.
Yeah, we're at the end of May, or in the beginning of May, we have our last Music on Tap series, a singer-songwriter showcase. And then towards the end of the month, we have our Star Wars and More concert, which is a partnership with the Ella Sharp Museum, and we'll also be having our friends from the Jackson School of the Arts be doing some things. So there'll be some pre-concert activities. This is a family-forward event, lots of interaction, surprises, and you'll hear all your favorites from Star Wars, but we'll also have some other kind of space-inspired music, things like Apollo 13, Star Trek, Gravity. So yeah, Star Wars and more.
All right, sounds like a fun concert. And it looks like a great concert this weekend at the Weatherwax Hall.
For sure. Yeah.
Great, thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, in addition to your tour of France, you also got some golf in Scotland. How'd that go?
Hey, it went pretty well. I played pretty okay despite the wind. Yeah, it was nice because it was a present for my dad, and it was supposed to have taken place in 2020. So finally, it happened in 2022. And my 79-year-old father, I think, is going to sleep for weeks now. He had to walk 8 straight days of 18 holes.
No carts?
No carts in Scotland. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They do it different across the pond.
They do. Yes.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
The maestro, the music director of the Jackson Symphony Orchestra, Dr. Matt Aubin. We've got a few more things happening this weekend. So